Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is December 2023. We made it through 2023 and had one of the best years that we've had so far. So if you're new to the channel, this channel basically walks you through my wife and I's net worth from the time we graduated high school at age 18, that was May of 2012, all the way up to December 2023. So it's been almost 11 years, 6 months, 11 years, 8 months, something like that. And so basically started in May of 2012 with a net worth of just a couple $1,000s. We quickly went into the negative of like negative $4,000, negative $6,000. And then we have now climbed to over $1 million, which we hit earlier this year in January 2023. And yeah, you'll just have to stay tuned to see where we're at the end of 2023 here. So income wise this month, I made $19,000. This was a month that I got paid 3 paychecks. So with 3 paychecks, I had to pay more in taxes, almost 4,000 in taxes. And then I did really good for the 401k. I wanted to make sure the 401k max, I'm pretty sure, is 2,000 or 22,500, and I was 22,274. So I was trying to find the balance of not over maxing my 401k. So I worked for a different company back here in January, February, March. And so I contributed a little bit to their 401k during those months, and then throughout the rest of this year, contributed to my new employer's 401k. So I was in a potential scenario where I could over contribute if I put too much in my current employer's 401k. So I was just trying to stay under $22,500 there. Income this month for take-home pay was $13,798, and that pretty much concluded the year for me. So I did phenomenally. I made almost double what I did last year, just shy of double from last year. So last year I was at 126. A year before that I was at 98,000. Year before that I was at 75,000. So this year finished the year off with $245,719. And next year, I will hit the $1 million mark in gross income, which that'll be a cool milestone. So, if you average all that, though, I guess I can pull my calculator out though. So 200 or 879,000 divided by 11 years. So I have averaged a $76,000 income over the past 11 years, 11 and a half years. So just because I'm at 245,000 now does not accurately reflect, what I've made for the past like 10 years. So yeah, 76,000. For my wife, she finished out the year. She does not get paid in December's every December from her main job, and so she'll get paid twice in January. So she did some adjunct teaching this month, made $1,500, paid $300 in taxes, and then brought home $1,200. And then for rental income, I did the same thing that I've done for the past, I guess, 4 years. This will be the 4th year now that I've done it. And I've had the same tenants living in house number 5 and house number 7 now for the past 4 years. So each December, if the tenants have paid on time and are taking care of the property, aren't causing too much trouble, I will discount each one of their rent $300, and so that is why the rent was quite a bit cheaper this month than it was the last month. So it was $21.67 this month. I did have to go and mow on house number 5 this December, which was kind of weird. I usually don't mow in December, but I did get that knocked out in early December, but charged her, I guess, $25 for that. But gross income for the month was $23,000. Take-home pay was $17,240. So yeah, total income for the year was $506,000. Some of that though is selling house number 4, which my wife and I lived in. I guess it was the third house my wife and I lived in, and we flipped this kind of over a period of like 4 to 5 years. Lived there for quite a long time, but my employer had a relocation package with me, and they bought out the house from us on September 15th of this year. So when I closed on that house, yeah, we sold it for $395, and we bought it for $245 like 5 years ago. It was like 5 years and a couple months we owned that house. Yeah, so at closing, I walked away with $166,257. So it was a good closing. I can't complain. I did not have to pay any realtor fees, didn't have to pay closing cost. I got my closing costs paid for on the new house as well. So it was honestly turned out to be a super, super good deal. So it's something I am pretty thankful for that I did this year. I ended up leaving my old pharmaceutical job in March and then started the new company in March. I did negotiate a $60,000 sign-on bonus for me to get that job, and so I asked for 100,000. They only gave me 60,000. Then I had to pay taxes on that. So um, that was a huge increase to the net worth this year. And then secondly, I negotiated in the relocation, and so the relocation was interesting. I actually moved further away from the company or the site that I work at, and so house number four was about it was maybe an hour, or it was 51 miles exactly from where I work at. And so I asked for relocation, and they said as long as I live over 50 miles away from the site, then I qualify for relocation. So I was already in the process of building a new house. The new house was 53 miles away, so I actually moved further away, but the relocation covered my move, which was crazy. And I was very honest with the relocation specialist there at work, and they said, "Yep, I qualify as long as I'm over 50 miles away." So that total, I bet, probably paid in like 100, maybe not 100, maybe 40 to 50,000 if you add in the closing costs, the realtor fees. There were some extra incomes that I made a few months, like 1435, 1483, 1490, 960. Those months I got things like they give you like $2,000 or $3,000 for real estate shopping. Like if you want to take your real estate agent out into the market, or fly like the money's for basically if you live in like another state and you fly into this state and you need to stay in a hotel. And but for me, like, I didn't need any of that, so I just got to pocket the money. Then they pay for your moving expenses, all that stuff. So basically all of that was about $40,000. um, and then I think I made probably 25 to $30,000 in not having to pay a real estate agent for my closing cost. Since I would have been a seller, I would have paid 5 or 6% to the real estate agent. So on $400,000, trying to do some quick math, that's like $24,000 roughly I would have paid in closing costs, and I was able to save that this year. And then I got a guarantee buyout at 395, which house number four was probably only worth like 385, so probably made $10,000 there. But that was probably the number one thing that I did this year was basically switch jobs. I went from a salary of like 137 in January and February up to a salary of 170. And I should be getting a pay increase in next like February to March timeframe. So yeah, so that was a huge increase to our net worth this year. Just yeah, me changing jobs. But the downside to that is I am driving about 2 hours and 10, 2 hours and 15 minutes each day. So even if I just work 40 hours a week, basically my work week's like 50 to 52 hours a week if I just work the bare minimum. There are some days I have to work 12 hours, and it makes it for a 14-hour day, so it just makes for some long days. I'm reading or listening to a lot of audiobooks, but makes the drive go by faster, so it's definitely worth the pay, I would say. um, 2024, I'm pretty sure I will be somewhere in like the 230 range, most likely, maybe the 220 range next year. I should get probably a $40,000 bonus in March. I get a 16% bonus based on my base salary, and in March of next year, that should be, yeah, somewhere around 40,000. Our company has done phenomenally, so the bonus should actually be like 30% instead of 16%. And then I should get my first round of like equity compensation, so I'll get employer stock, probably somewhere between 15 to 20,000 worth of my employer stock. My company stock is like extremely high right now. So it's probably a little bit overvalued. I'll have to continue to work at the company for 3 more years as well before it's fully vested. And so it's like cliff vesting. So if I work there like 2 years and 11 months, then I don't get any of it. All of it's lost. But as long as I work 3 years after February, so February 2027, then I should get my first round of vesting, which again should be about 15 to 20,000. Take home pay for the year was $366,000. So yeah, really, really good. And then kind of the things that I just compare, I'm comparing or competing against myself. So I am goal number one was to have 1.2 million, which is basically how much take home pay that I've made in my lifetime. Second goal was to have 1.5 million, which I'm not quite there. That's basically all 401k, employee stock purchase plan, all my take home pay, our health savings account, all rental income I've made, and then all other income. All of that combined is 1.5 million. So I would like to hit this number. This is kind of the next goal, but it's an ever moving goal. So the more money that I make, the higher this number goes. So it's pretty much dependent on investments. So I've always been just watching this. If we were to have a year where the stock market went up like 100%, I would probably catch up to this goal number two here. And then goal number three is pretty much how much money has entered into my wife and I's hands for our whole entire life. So that includes like my total gross income, her total gross income, all of the rental income, and all of the other income. So we've made about $1.8 million total in our lifetime so far at not quite 30, I guess 29 and a half years old roughly. So moving on here, I'm trying to keep this relatively short, so I did not go through my expenses like I did last year, but it's pretty much the same. It's a little bit more expensive, maybe. There's a couple things that changed, but honestly, nothing super notable. So real estate wise, everything went up 2% in value. Again, this month, it's just an automatic equation that I have in here. So it takes 0.0016% per month and basically adds it from the last month. But I did finally update the vehicles. I probably should have done that in September or October. The 2022 truck. So I'll kind of elaborate on these a little bit more. So 2022 truck has like 2,000 miles on it. Since I drive the Honda Fit to work every single day, this 2013 Honda Fit, I basically don't ever drive the truck. It kind of just hangs out unless I need to mow or do something on the weekends, which most of everything that I need is pretty close, like within 5 miles. So its value has dropped about $8,000. I think 48,000 might be a little bit low. Something with 2,000 miles on it that's a year and a half old. So somewhere around 48,915 is what Kelly Blue Book said. 2018 Honda. I think prices. So I put it at 22,000. We actually got a direct quote from the Honda dealership like back in 2021 to 22, and Honda was going to give us 22,000 for it. We paid 14,000 for the car back in 2020. We decided not to sell it just because it's a good car and it had like 15,000 miles on it. So it has definitely went down in value over the past year. Used car prices are not quite as high as what they were last year. So it's down to 17,700. The 1946 Chevy is an interesting one. These are extremely hard to value. I will say the one, this is my great grandfather's that he's still alive, but gave it to me to hold on to for the rest of my life, and then I'll give it to my great grandson if I have one. So it has no rust. It has 33,000 miles on it. It's been parked in a garage for the past like 70 years. It's in extremely good condition. It does not run. He filled it up completely with gas like I don't know 40 years ago, and then just parked it in the garage, and it's not moved from the garage in the last 40 years. So I need to get the engine unseized on that one. I can't get it to turn over. I need to put a new battery in it. But basically, it's kind of just hanging out for the time being. But these go from anywhere from like $20,000 just for the body. Like if you can find one that's completely rusted out, they're about $20,000, maybe 15,000 if you got a good deal. And then if they're fully refinished and like a show car, like they're somewhere in the like 100,000, 120,000, somewhere in that range. Where most of them probably fall between 60 and 80,000. But again, to be conservative, I have this at 25,000, but I did move it up from 21,000, which I had last month. Um, Believe it or not, the 2013 Honda Fit went up in value. So I'm driving it 110 miles a day, roughly every day, and it's at 95-ish thousand miles right now, so it's not even crossed the 100,000, and it's 10 years old. But yeah, I'm just driving it to work and back every single day, and it actually went up in value somehow. And it's funny, I had made a deal with my wife that when it broke, that I would be able to get a new car, and thinking that I'm driving 100 miles a day and how cheap this car was, that it would maybe last 100,000 miles. Well, I did some research on 2013 Honda Fits, and apparently, like, they're the best vehicle that was like been made. They last like 400 to 500,000 miles, which is ridiculous. I can't believe that. So I may be driving the Honda Fit to work for like the next 20 years. I'm not I'm not quite sure, but I did not change anything with miscellaneous. This is I have a flatbed, a 12-foot flatbed trailer. I have a Suzuki 400 King Quad four-wheeler. I'm not super specialized in four-wheelers, if you couldn't tell. And then I have lawnmower, just a zero-turn lawnmower. So those three things add up to about $8,000. But I will explain the real estate a little bit. So house number five, I've owned for about 5 years roughly right now. I bought it for 110. I have it valued here at 190. The actual value is probably like 215-ish, maybe 220-ish. The real estate market in my area is extremely different than it was 2 years ago. Um, 2 years ago, there were like you could like there were quite a few houses on the market. Now there's hardly any houses on the market because of interest rates. 2 years ago, I could find houses in like the 150 range. There nowadays there are not a single house in the town that I live in listed under 200,000. And I bought this for 110,000 4 years ago. So I mean, I am 1,000% confident it's at least worth 210 to 220, probably like 230 to 240. And that's the same story for house number seven. It's in the exact same town that house number five. Basically, everything that I own is in the exact same town. But house number seven is maybe 3 miles away from house number five, maybe 2 miles away. House number seven's probably in a better neighborhood. It's just a smaller house. The house next door sold for 215, which was the exact same house layout as house seven. So again, I mean, there's no houses in my area under $200,000 now, which is crazy. Um, Other than that, their rents. So rents on house five are 1350 a month. Rents on house seven are 1175. The average rents in my area are probably like for a four-bedroom like house five is probably 18 to 1900 a month. A three-bedroom is probably 1600 a month. So both of these I have extremely under rented. But the tenants, I would rather the tenants stay there every month, and I would just make a little bit less than have the turnover, have them take care of the property. But if they ever move out, it's kind of like a bonus for me because I'll go from 1175 a month in rent all the way up to like 1600 a month in rent. So the numbers would definitely make a lot more sense. But I'm still getting a 15% cash on cash return on these, so I can't really complain that much. So that's kind of the two rental properties. I think I've have these undervalued probably 40 to 50,000 combined, but again, I'm not going to sweat it. If I sold them, I'd have to pay realtor fees, so I'm just going to keep them where they're at. Land number eight. So this is basically impossible to value in my area. I paid 378 for it. I don't even know how long ago. I guess 2 years ago now, and um, I've made some improvements. Like I have water. I have a driveway now. I've 4 acres of clearing and stuff like that. But um, property in my area, it's a little bit out in the country, but I could probably get to the like into the city in probably 5 minutes, maybe 4 to 5 minute drive from where our house is. So yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, there might be somebody that would pay 500,000 for it, maybe 600,000 for it. I might list it and it might sell. I couldn't sell it for 400,000. So I'm just going to keep with the 2% per year value increase. So if that's true, it's somewhere around 395, which is probably fairly accurate. Same thing with house number eight. House number eight sits on land number eight, and just in the 4 acre clearing that I did. We built the house for like 250,000. When I got an appraisal on these two, it came in at 1.3 million, which was about 6 months ago. I have them valued at 1.15 million, so I may be missing $150,000 here between the two. But again, just trying to be conservative. I don't know honestly if I could sell these two. In my area, I am probably getting towards the upper tier of income in my area. I'm probably at least the 95 to 97 percentile. So there's not really a lot of people that could probably afford like a 1.2, 1.3 million dollar property. So I think my buyer pool would be extremely a small group of individuals, and then with interest rates at like 8 or 9%, like if I listed the house at 1.2 million, it would probably sit for a year or 2 years. There's just not that many buyers in my area that can afford, 1.2 million dollar house. So um, I'm kind of, yeah, I'm not really too worried about it. My wife and I will live here and probably till the day we die. So probably 70 more years that we'll live in this house, which it is for sure our dream house and the dream property that we wanted. So we have no interest in moving whatsoever. So that's kind of just some background on the real estate that we have going on right now. But investment wise, things went up pretty good this month. Another $32,000. So HSA account is 56,296, an increase of about $4,000 compared to last month, and then 401k is up to 212. So it's been crazy the past couple months. I went from 175 to 197 to 212, and then for my wife's 403b and 457b accounts, she's at 193. So still not quite up to where my account is, but she's always just right behind me on my heels with her account. So up to 462,000 in investments. So comparing that to last year, things are just it's crazy crazy. So HSA account went up almost $20,000. My 401k went up almost $90,000, and then her 403b, her retirement accounts, went up almost 80,000. So we're up almost $200,000 from where we were 12 months ago, which is just again that's absolutely crazy. But jumping back to income here, I mean I put 22,000 in mine. She put 38,000 in hers, and then 5,000 in her HSA. So they give her 2,600 in her HSA. They match her 10% in her retirement account, and then they match me 6% in mine. So all in all, we probably, when I calculated it, it was somewhere around 90,000 is probably what we put into um, just retirement accounts this year. If we and that is literally maxing out everything that I think we can possibly max out. 401k, 403b, 457b, and an HSA account pretty much fully maxed out. Um, yeah, so investments were super good for the end of December here. Debts, not too much to really update on. I'm glad I got rid of house number 4, so that canceled off like 222,000 in debt. Basically, I rolled all that into house number 8 and started just paying down house number 8 as fast as I can. These top 3, the 2 rental properties and the 66 acres of land, all of those are 3% interest, so I'm not super concerned about paying those off very early. I'll probably just pay minimum payments on those for until they pay themselves off. House number 8 is a different story, and so I would like to pay house 8 off as fast as I can. It's at 5.25% interest on a 30-year fixed, and so if I can get rid of this payment, it changes our lives like pretty substantially. Like we can bring home an extra $3,000 a month if I cannot have house number 8 payment. So that's kind of the primary goal right now, is to knock out house number 8 as fast as I possibly can. But yeah, total debt right now is 869,000. 100% of our debt is on real estate. We don't have student loans. We don't have credit card debt. Any of that stuff. Payday loans. Literally just 4 different properties that are all fixed rate loans, mostly 30 years. Cash wise, we just like I said, I'm gonna keep just sticking to $30,000. So this is about 4 to 6 months worth of expenses for my wife and I, since both of us are working full time. Um, Here in the future, my wife may leave her main job and just do the adjunct teaching. We are struggling with babysitting a little bit right now, and so we had a plan for my parents and my wife's parents to kind of help us out with babysitting, but plans kind of change over time. So She may actually leave her main job sometime in 2024. So we'll just have to play that by ear and see how that goes. But for now, our emergency fund's about $30,000. Anything that we save above $30,000, I just apply it to house number eight's outstanding balance. So this month I was able to pay off like 6,000 something dollars, $6,260. So pretty good month. Rental property count went up $1,000. Didn't really have any crazy expenses this month. Basically, just saved everything that I could. And so, as of December 2023, that puts our net worth at $1.269 million. So, yeah, we're already at over $1.25 million. So it's been a crazy year, honestly. I mean, a year ago, our net worth was 963, and then 12 months later, we're at 1269. So we increased our net worth $306,000 in 1 year, which is crazy. So if we kept this pace, we'd have $2 million in like 2.5 more years. It's just crazy. So a lot of that this year was stock market going up in value. So I do have to, pay the respects to the stock market helping us out this year. But 2022 was brutal. I mean, we just went down in stocks 100% last year. Like the whole year, it seemed like we were just going down, down, down. So this year was quite a bit better. We recovered pretty substantially, and we're pretty close back to all-time highs now, which is good. But in terms of our goal pace, our current net worth goal is to have $4 million by 40 years old. The original goal was to have $1 million saved by 30 years old, which we will turn 30 here in 5 months. And so, yeah, we're 200 and something $1,000 ahead of what we thought that we were going to be. So yeah, it's crazy. $269,000 ahead, and still with 5 months to go. So that's how far we were from. I mean, we killed that first goal, and we're already on crazy pace to kill the $4 million by 40 goal. So it might be even $5 million by 40. Honestly, with the pace that we're going. So current pace, I'm $338,766 ahead of our goal pace of having $4 million by 40 years old. So craziness. Yeah, I'm just going to keep pushing ahead and trying to get further and further ahead. But the only last thing to update on is just kind of the loan amortization schedule. So this month I had planned on putting an extra $4,793 towards the principal to our house, and so that should leave me with a loan balance of $502,000. We actually beat that goal this month, and we ended up putting $6,260 towards the house, and so yeah, we're just getting further and further ahead there too. But depending what happens in 2024, things may slow down a little bit. I have a couple tricks up my sleeve that I think I can execute if I really need to. But I'm about $8,000 ahead of my goal pace, which the goal was to have this paid off in 5 years. I would really like to have it paid off in 3 years. Would be ideal. But yeah, we're just gonna have to see how much I can sacrifice and how fast we can actually get it done. But next month, the plan is to put $4,793 towards the mortgage, and so we should be able to do that fairly easily, I would hope. Well, maybe not. Now that I think of it, maybe not. We're probably going to dial back our 401ks and start probably just do the minimum contribution amount into our 401ks. Going forward. That way we still get the employer match, but we can start paying off house number 8 a little bit faster. For November here, it depends if we've already put in for my wife to dial back her retirement contributions. We're not quite sure when that is going to go into effect. If she makes one of her paychecks in January that doesn't max out her retirement accounts, then we should be able to hit this goal pretty easily. If she maxes it out and it doesn't update, and she ends up putting $9,000 to her retirement account in January, yeah, we're gonna have to figure something else out. So we are actually going to try for the first time as well a no spend month. And so sometimes my wife and I get a little carried away and maybe spend money on things that we maybe don't need to. I don't think it's crazy problem. I would say compared to the average person in the United States, like we're probably extremely frugal compared to them. But sometimes we just purchase stuff that maybe we don't need to. So we are going to go 30 days for the month of January and literally just try to purchase nothing. No Amazon purchases. When I say nothing, like obviously we need groceries and we have to pay our electric bill, but no shopping, no restaurants, no extra expenses, nothing like that. So our shopping category should basically be zero as of January 31st. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I think if we do that, we should be able to hit the 4,793 mark for January. And the only last update here I'll say is no firewood sales for the month of December. We sold the one rick in November, and that was an extra $110. For December, it's just been super warm. So I'm gonna bump it down to $100 a rick or a third of a cord, and then see how that does. I have like 23 more thirds of a cord or ricks to sell, and yeah, so I'll bump it down to $100 in January. Hopefully, I can get going on that and make an extra like $1,500 in January. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But as of December 2023, net worth is sitting at $1,269,000, and we are $338,000 ahead of our goal pace of having $4 million by 40 years old. So we're just going to keep working away as much as we can, keep trying to make money, keep trying to save. Probably we'll dial back the retirement contributions next year. We'll probably still max out the HSA since it's triple taxed advantaged, but we'll for sure dial back the 401ks and other retirement accounts. But yeah, that's really it for 2023. So things were good by far. I mean, we set income records this year. We set retirement contribution records this year. I mean, set rental income records. We set records for money coming in from selling properties. And then set our record for $306,000 that we saved in net worth this year. So that's by far a record. I think the best I've ever done before that's like 240,000 in a year. But yeah, I'm excited for 2024. I'm ready to pay off house number 8, even though I'm 6 months in. So yeah, we'll keep working to get that paid off as fast as possible. So thank you all for watching the video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Last month's, next month's videos are on the screen now. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, things that you'd like to see in future videos, just comment them down below. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you in 2024.